Make me strong, make me brave, give my all my strength.
Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Mats, the podcast where we go deeper than the fight game and talk about the lives and journeys of martial artists. Today I've got a special guest out of Portland, Oregon, a brown belt coach and a big part of the community at Enzo Jiu-Jitsu. Welcome, Salvador Hernandez. Thank you for being here, man. I'll give you a second to kind of just introduce yourself. I kind of just said your gym, but kind of who you are.
Yeah. So I originally am from Indiana. I started training jujitsu at Purdue University. They have a small jujitsu club there. So I started training in around 2017, 2018. And then I moved to Oregon in 2019 as a four-stripe white belt. And then I started training at Enzo. Since then, yeah, I've just been trying to compete and coach as much as I can and just kind of get my name out there. I would like to open my gym one day. I guess I will rephrase that and say I will open my gym one day in a couple of years. But yeah, that's a little spiel about me.
So let's take it way back. What first got you into jiu-jitsu? I know you kind of said you started at Purdue, but was it something you were kind of searching for, or did it find you?
It's going to sound a little weird, but Conor McGregor at the time, in like 2017, 2018, he was like up and coming. And I know he's not really good at jiu-jitsu or anything, but just how confident he was, that's something I was just looking for. And so I found just, the little club at Purdue a couple of my friends were doing, and then just kind of fell in love with it. Yeah. I'm the oldest of seven, so I got a lot of siblings, and, we used to wrestle and stuff growing up. So kind of came naturally. And then, yeah, I just stuck with it. I didn't really plan on or care for the belt at first. It wasn't until I moved out here and got my blue belt that I was like, okay, this is something that's, doable, or, I can, a black belt is something that I'm capable of doing.
How did you take starting it? Was it kind of a tough task, or did you kind of get a hang of it pretty quickly?
I mean, I feel like I was comfortable. I wouldn't say I was, I was really good really fast. I definitely learned a lot from tapping and, getting darsed every week and things like that. Um, our school consisted of like 25 white belts, two blue belts, and one brown belt. And the brown belt, taught a couple times a week because he was a PhD student. So it was a lot of YouTubing for the first couple months, and a lot of trial and error with a bunch of other white belts. But it wasn't until I graduated, like 2 years later to that I went to like an actual jiu-jitsu MMA gym. There was a little more structure, got to learn a little more. And then, yeah, 2019 is when I moved out here, and Enzo's awesome. There's a ton of people. KSK is a great coach. So
How are you liking it out there in Portland? How's the change been for you so far?
it's been good. I've stuck around Enzo, ever since I started here, but I love to cross train and check out, places like 10 Planet and Impact and Black Dog Jiu-Jitsu. But yeah, I'm trying to go around the community and cross train as much as I can.
So you've been at it for years now and earned your brown belt. What have been some of the biggest lessons along the way, both on the mats and off, you would say?
It definitely helps me work under pressure and things like that. So I try to relate jujitsu to a lot of parts of my life, and with work and things like that. It really helped me like slow down and things like that. Also helped me with my confidence. And then, yeah, I think even on the mats, it had to teach me patience as well. I believe I was a blue belt for like a year and 9 months. And then I was a purple belt for almost 4 years. So I was
Jeez.
in my head a lot for that purple belt. So it was a journey, and definitely up and downs for like, am I going to be a brown belt? What's going on? But I only had one belt to really compare to.
But then you eventually got through that, and that's awesome. You did get your brown belt. That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, now I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I'm like, oh man, there's only one more left.
Yeah. But that's the cool thing about jujitsu. Once you get your black belt, it kind of feels like you're just starting. Like there's still so much you have to learn, I feel like, after you achieve that.
Yeah, that's why I really enjoy it. It kind of, like you said, never ends.
So, what does being a brown belt mean to you at this stage of your journey?
Hmm, that's a good question. I feel like for me personally, being a brown belt is trying to help out and train and coach as many people as I can. Um, I compete a lot, and I have over the years. I've been finding more of a passion in coaching as well. So I have a small group of guys over at Enzo that have been competing, regularly and things like that, white and blue belts. I'm always there to corner the guys and whatnot, always trying to get people to compete. So I would say, as a brown belt, just trying to be a leader in that way and go and compete myself so I can ask other people to compete and then also continue to compete even when I'm not winning and when I lose. That way I can tell people the same thing. It doesn't matter if you lose as long as, you're trying your best out there and you're better than you did last time type of thing. Something that I struggle to believe myself, but I'm trying getting better at that.
Yeah, that's something I believe too. I feel like kind of sounds like trying to lead by example more. So you're not that kind of tied into the next segment. It was about coaching and how did that transition into teaching really come about for you?
I feel like I've always had a passion for teaching, even when I was like a blue belt or whatnot. I started teaching right before I got my purple belt when I was a blue belt, like officially at Enzo. And so I tried to get into it as early as possible because I knew teaching was going to be a skill in itself that I would have to learn and try to, figure out ways to train people depending on if they're younger, or if they're older, or if they're trying to compete or do something specific like that. So I enjoy the challenges that come with the coaching.
I kind of assisted with coaching the kids classes for a little bit, so I feel like that kind of helped me learn jujitsu maybe like a little bit faster or maybe a little bit easier. I'm not sure which, but is that something you've kind of experienced when you started coaching? Do you feel like things kind of clicked a little bit more for you?
Yeah, it definitely helped me myself learning because I definitely had to like slow down and like make sure I teach all the individual steps, even the steps that necessarily I don't think about that I just do with muscle memory that I'll have to go back and it helps me kind of refine the basics and things like that. And um, but yeah, it definitely helps me put in the reps and I try to do the things, teach the things that I do in competition and things like that.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit more about the gym Enzo Jiu-Jitsu specifically. Is there any one thing that makes it unique compared to other gyms in your opinion?
I mean, I think we really have like a good family here at Enzo Jiu Jitsu. Everyone's always willing to help each other out. We have probably, close to 100 members.
Jeez.
And we just recently moved to like a different gym and a different location, sorry, that's way bigger and that can, hold the students or whatnot. But I think it's awesome. And then also a lot of it, the reason I have stuck around and whatnot is also because Keisuke, the coach, he is just a really good coach. He has a lot of, accolades, and he was a really good up and coming jiu-jitsu and MMA fighter. And so I really looked up to him when I came out here.
Well, that's great to hear. I always love hearing people have like great support systems in their gym, and it's not everyone just treats it like a sport. It's like deeper than that. Like you said, like a family.
Definitely, yeah. I've had, I have a good coach, and I've also made a friend along the way as well, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I feel like that makes it a lot easier because, like my one of my last guests said, it's like the sport is so tough already. It's just like having that family kind of makes it just easier. So let's kind of jump into the competition. I know you said you were competing. How much have you really competed in your journey so far, and how has that shaped your approach to training?
Honestly, I was actually crunching the numbers the other day. I don't know if this is a lot. I feel like it's not a lot compared to other brown belts, but I think I've had about 38 or 40 uh, tournaments competitions since I started. Um, and then yeah, I'm just um, working on the skill of competing. I feel like a lot of times I get actually all the time I get in my head. I feel like I'm going to puke every time I compete. I've been doing this for almost 9 years, and I still get in my head and whatnot. Um, so I'm just working on competing as a skill. Just recently, I feel like I'm starting to perform like I do on the mats in the gym or whatnot. So teaching, I feel like, is a skill in itself, and also competing is a thing as well,
Yeah.
as separate from doing jujitsu.
Definitely. I feel like you could be really good at training jujitsu, but then like to translate that over to competition too, that's like a whole different type of game.
Definitely, and I've definitely rolled with people who I've lost two before in tournaments and beat them on the mats. So
Yeah,
it's like, so it just depends on the day and whatnot. So
yeah, 100%. There's a one quote I think I heard too. I think it was Conor McGregor. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but I think he was talking about like competition or just like the night of the fight. And it's like you do all that preparation leading up to the tournament already. And it's like kind of going up to a high dive, like diving board. And it's like you're walking up to the edge and you've done all that work to get to the edge. It's like once you get to the tournament, you kind of just jump off and, let everything happen.
yeah, big moments. Yeah, I definitely can see that comparison being nerve wracking, ready to jump.
But for right now, what's kind of your mindset when it comes to jujitsu? Do you see it more of like a lifestyle or martial art or just like a sport?
I mean, all of the above. I use it for competition. I would like to, win like a world champion, a masters, whatever that may be in gi or no gi. I also love to do it just for like healthy, sports wise, just, keeping active. And it's also just good like mentally for me. Like I use it as a good therapy, in the jujitsu itself. It's a good distraction and a healthy distraction. And then like we talked about before, the community and the people that come with it definitely help out. Um, but yeah, I definitely see it as all three, and that, ties into coaching too. um, Whenever I have a student, or whatnot, or someone who comes to the gym, I need to also understand that they maybe not want to compete or go as hard as I want to. So I'll have to change my coaching, techniques compared to whoever's coming in.
Yeah, 100%. What role does mindset play for you in progressing through the ups and downs of training?
I mean, I think it's super important. I think it really makes a difference between like a good athlete and a great athlete.
Yeah,
So, people who are, winning all these tournaments, obviously they have this confidence and they go into it feeling good or whatnot. So, um, yeah, mindset is everything. And that's my biggest struggle overall. So just trying to, in my own personal life and in jujitsu, just trying to be, more confident in myself and things like that. And really just, listen to what my teammates tell me, just, believe in my technique and do what I do on the mats and, just treat it as, an open mat. And yeah, just getting there and get it done. But easier said than done with the adrenaline and everything too. And
yeah, I remember someone telling me that before I ever did my first competition too. They were like, just treat it like an open mat with a referee. Just pretty much all it is. The adrenaline like adds a lot to it too, and people add a lot of unneeded pressure on it.
yeah, definitely people. I mean, it depends how you hold yourself. I feel like I hold myself too high of a standard and I
Yeah,
beat myself up in this certain ways. But, at the end of the day, nobody's going to be upset that you lost. Nobody's going to like you less if you lost. Nobody's going to think of you any less.
yeah,
I'm sure people are going to congratulate you just for getting out there and competing, is what I tell people. So it's like,
exactly. And that
just do it, have the experience.
exactly, and that also ties back to like we were talking before, having that strong family at the gym. Just counting on being able to go back to training with those people and knowing that they're still going to have your back and treat you no differently.
Yeah, 100%.
So let's kind of talk about life beyond the mats for a second here. So outside of the jiu-jitsu mats, who is Salvador Hernandez? What keeps you busy when you're not inside the gym?
Oh man, that one's kind of hard. I mean, I work as a freight supervisor at Whole Foods. Other than that, I have a wife and two dogs, and we do things together and we like to go hiking and camping and things like that. But other than that, I try to train jujitsu as much as I can. I would like to turn that into my job, as soon as I can. That way I can have, more free time to do other things, and travel a little bit more. I'm trying to use jujitsu to travel as well. So I can use that as an excuse to, see the world and meet other people, and try new foods and things like that. So,
That's awesome. I feel like that was perfect. Tying into that kind of, is there any one place specifically that you would love to travel to, I don't know, coach or maybe even compete at?
oh man, my buddy just went to Japan a couple months ago, and I feel like that would be awesome to go out there. One, just for the experience in Japan. I love food, and I heard they have amazing food there, and it's just, a wonderful place to visit. and also be great to compete. And
I
then I
feel
would also like to, I always see it on IBJJF, but it's kind of corny, but I want to go to El Salvador Open and win. Just the Salvador that wins El Salvador Open.
yeah, that is funny. Cool. Yeah, I feel like Japan too. I've always wanted to go to Japan too, so I feel like that's an awesome place. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Has jujitsu changed the way you live your life outside of just training?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. It definitely helps me. I think I said this before, kind of slow down, and kind of see what's going on in front of me. Helps me, work under pressure and, go through life whenever things are getting stressful, try to, relate it to jujitsu, when I'm having a hard time, just think about the things that I know, take a deep breath, try to get out of the bad situation, whether it be life or, on the mats, get out and then reset and, try to work your way and find out a solution. But yeah, I think it definitely helps me mentally a lot. And plan on doing it for the rest of my life and as long as I can, I'm going to compete as much as I can. And then afterwards, I'll just, teach. Uh, and yeah, I think that would be the dream for me. It's definitely helped me out in life. Again, with friends, community, and just mentally.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Kind of jumping backwards a little bit to the competition. Is there any one like match particularly that stands out to you over the 38 or 40 that you've had?
There's the super fight that I won a day after I got my brown belt. I believe I won that in like 2 minutes with the triangle. I did really well. Performed like I did on the mats. I felt really good. And I won $100. So that was like my first, pro fight and things like that. So I think that was awesome. Um, and then I'm looking forward to my next super fight, which is going to be Sub Kumite in September. And this is a guy that I faced as a purple belt in the gi, and I've lost to by points. Um, and so I'm excited to face him again as my first brown belt competition, which would be a super fight, which is going to be awesome. So I'm looking forward to putting it on the mats and getting my win back, and then we'll have to do one more to settle it.
Sweet. So coming up in September, what date?
September 13th.
Awesome. Is it going to be like live streamed or anything?
I think they might be doing live stream. They haven't announced it yet. They're definitely, obviously, they'll have in-person tickets and whatnot, but I haven't heard about the streaming platform they're going to use yet.
That would be cool. So we'll wrap it up right here. I got one more question for you. This might be a tough one, but in your words, what do you want your students and teammates to take away from you, not just as a coach, but really as a person?
I would say on those days, if jujitsu is there and it helps you, and on those days when you really just don't feel like going in and it just sucks, um, you know, call someone or tell someone and have someone, have be your accountability buddy is what I call it, and tell you, hey, hit me up, tell me to come to jujitsu because I'm not feeling it, because it's always going to be worth it. Anytime I come off the mats and I'm having like a bad day or something and I don't want to go, anytime I come off the mats, I'm always feeling, it's like a 180. I feel a lot better. I feel less stress. I feel a lot happier and things like that. But I'd say that's the one thing. And then, yeah, just keep doing it. I would encourage everybody to compete. I don't, it doesn't matter if you're going to be a competitor. Just do it once or twice a belt just to test yourself. And yeah, I think it's a good test for everybody, whether you're 21 or you're whatever 7 or if you're 80. I think it'd be good for everybody because there's age divisions. But yeah.
I agree. I agree with that. And I think age really, it kind of stops. A lot of people are scared, some people once they get older, but I think that's one of the things about jujitsu is it doesn't really matter. Like you said, there's the divisions, and then I feel like you could really dial back your training based on your age and, take it easy based on your body type to where you could still, participate and enjoy the sport.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then a lot of times there's usually one or two people. They make it 4-minute matches and things like that. So they kind of change it for the age groups as well. But yeah, I try to do my best at the gym. I've coached like a 17-year-old, coached like 25-year-olds, and then I've coached 45-year-olds. So, um, But yeah, I think it's definitely a good thing for everybody just to get out there for confidence mentally and just to really test your skills.
100%. Well, Salvador, this has been awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing your journey.
Yes, I appreciate the invite. Yeah, this was awesome.
No problem. For everyone listening, where can they follow you online or just learn more about Enzo Jiu Jitsu?
You guys can follow me on Instagram at Chava Jiu-Jitsu, and then you guys can go to enzojujitsu.com to check out the gym schedules. And yeah, we do a free week trial. If you're ever in the Portland area, definitely hit me up. And yeah, give me a follow. And then yeah, we can connect whenever I open my own gym.
Sweet. Thank you again, man. I really appreciate you coming on and just taking the time.
Thank you as well.
Oh, and also I was gonna say too, good luck at your match coming up. I'm gonna try to. That's why I was asking about the live stream. I was gonna try to tune in, but I'm sure I'll see the videos after.
Yeah, definitely, dude. Yeah, and once I find out if this is true or not, I'll definitely send it your way.
I appreciate that. Well, guys, that is it for this week's episode of Beyond the Mats. Thank you for tuning in, and if you've made it this far, show some love by dropping a follow or a review and following the show on Instagram at Beyond the Mats. We got some big things coming and some awesome guests planned, so you guys stay tuned, and we'll see you next week, Beyond the Mats.
With the past, I never regret it. Yeah, I did it for myself, I ain't searching for credit. Said I couldn't do it, they probably shouldn't have said it. Times changed what it was, yeah, you can forget.